Chapter 13. The shroud of night was broken over Blackgate Penitentiary, where light shone from numerous guard towers and radiated from within the compound. From up on a hill half a mile away, Angel and Arrow reflected on the difficulties this would give them. Tim, back in his bunker, provided occasional commentary. "I suppose this is a good thing, in some sense anyway," Arrow said. "If it actually keeps them from escaping, but it's not as if Gotham has any shortage of light pollution to begin with. Wouldn't really make sense to complain about the place actually doing its job," Tim said over a slightly scratchy transmission. "There's an underground emergency escape for prison riots and the like around your current location. Let me know before you tamper with it. I'll disable the alarm." The two searched the area atop the hill slowly, listened, and felt for some indication of a trap door in the earth. It took 3 days to put a plan together, and Arrow intended to depart shortly thereafter. "I'm not convinced you actually need me for this," Arrow said with a tiny laugh. "Like having you here," Angel said. "You should visit more. Maybe you should come by Star City one of these days. It's no picnic, but I'll bet it's less crazy than here." He paused as a step produced a light clink sound and dropped to one knee. With a rub at the dirt and the discovery of a metal hinge beneath it, he pressed on his earpiece. "Found it, Red." "Good. Schematic says there's going to be a ladder. It'll go pretty far down, so my connection probably is going to get worse before it gets better." As Arrow brushed the dirt off the entrance, Angel asked, "Cameras? I've got a 2-hour clip I cut together to play over the security footage. I have the real thing pulled up, so I can turn them back on if I see anything going down." Arrow finished unearthing the door and took note of the mechanical lock that remained in the way. "It's ready. Go ahead and unlock it." There was a tiny sound of shifting mechanisms on the other side of the steel. After a "go" from Tim, Arrow pulled up on the chain and ushered Angel enter first. The two slipped into the vertical chamber. Tiny emergency lights came to life and showed them the way underground. When Arrow shut the trap door, he held a hand to his earpiece. "Can you still hear me?" Tim's voice was distorted, but present. "Yeah, I'm gonna lock that thing again, lest anyone gets suspicious. Call me when you leave." Angel took a look down. The ladder ran so deep she couldn't see the end, or even all the lights. "Anything else?" "Since it is an escape route and all, there's gonna be more security. I have a distraction planned. Even if our transmission gets cut off, I'll at least be able to watch you guys on the cameras and trigger something when you're ready. Just be sure to hang out by the door for a few minutes." The descent was a long, mostly quiet journey. The ladder had at least been fully intact, and kept the steps downward consistent from beginning to end. Arrow only attempted conversation again when they were on level ground. "How's your girlfriend?" Angel breathed a heavy sigh. With how busy she'd been the last few nights, she'd hardly had a chance to say or be asked what happened with Sadie's family. "She's fine. Talking about moving." "You can move out of Gotham?" Arrow gave that a short laugh. "I always figured if you could move out, there'd be no civilians left." Somehow in the darkness, he could feel the frustrated glare Angel gave him. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make fun of you." "I forgive you," Angel said. "So, what is it? Just that Gotham's got so many criminals, or something else?" "College." Angel rubbed her forehead. "I know I should be happy for her." "You can be happy for her and still be upset that it's happening," Arrow said. "I thought it was better to detach." It was difficult to tell by her inflection, but she was making fun of him. "I'm a Buddhist, not a robot." Arrow cracked up a little. "And if I was Orthodox, I wouldn't be a crime fighter." "Orthodox?" Angel knew of that word, but couldn't remember its meaning. "It means following the rules exactly as they're written," Arrow said. "Neither of us, then." Arrow opened his mouth to say something else, but put out his arm, as if commanding Angel to stop moving. When she did, the very faint sound of footsteps echoed through the chamber. Arrow put a hand to his ear. "Red, is there something we should know?" He and Angel both waited a few seconds, but no response came. "Red? Damn it! Did we get cut off?" From further down the corridor came whispers amplified by the acoustics. The voice that followed was little more than a mumble, only audible by its echo. "I heard you long before you heard me. I can hear you breathing your steps. You're not him. But I can't let you tell him!" The silent force closed the distance so quickly it seemed to move faster than it could speak. An open hand flew at Arrow, who only just had enough time to raise his bow and block the strike. The skin of the attacker was an unhealthy, almost gray shade. A hair of black hair partially covered his eyes, which were colored green but overcome with bloodshot. "You know this one?" Arrow threw the figure back. Even the man's stance was off. Tiny twitches ran through his body. Streaks of sweat dripped down his bare, gray chest. "Zeiss!" he snarled through grit teeth. "Philo Zeiss, you Philistine!" Angel took a step forward, but Arrow put out his arm. "You're still sore. I can handle him. I beat the bat half to death!" With a wild swing, Zeiss landed a cut into Arrow. The strike made him shout and clutch. It was only then the two noticed Zeiss's cuticles had been covered in dried blood, and his fingernails were sharp nearly into claws. "Him and the cat, bitch!" Arrow forced Zeiss back and kicked him in the gut. With a sudden burst of speed, Zeiss retaliated with 2 punches across Arrow's face before he grabbed him by the hood and threw him against the wall. Again, Angel stepped forward to intervene, but Arrow fought back with a bash across the face with his bow. With an open moment, Arrow knocked one of his blunt bolts and pointed at Zeiss's forehead. Zeiss clapped his hands together and caught the arrow within millimeters of his face. Arrow flinched. "What the?" before he sent another projectile flying. Even standing no more than a few feet away from Zeiss, the madman could not be hit. As if taking the attacks as a challenge, his limbs thrashed and caught every arrow as they were fired, no matter how fast Arrow drew and released. Zeiss got a hold of the shaft and threw it aside. "What are you supposed to be?" Arrow said. "How are you doing this?" "Cybernetics," Angel said. "I have fought him. Part machine." "Only part? Good." "As if you could—" Zeiss didn't get his thought out as Arrow fired his next shot toward his legs. Again Zeiss caught the arrow, followed by another flying toward his pectorals. Arrow fired faster and faster. The results were always the same, until the shaking Zeiss's body seemed to worsen. "Wait! No! Stop! I can't!" "Your cybernetics can keep up with me at point-blank range, but your bones and muscles can't keep up with the whiplash you're putting them through," Arrow said. "You little bastard!" Zeiss stepped forward and still grabbed a hold of the fired arrows as if he had no choice in the matter. Finally, there was a light crack when he grabbed one going for his shoulder. He released it almost a moment later and shouted in pain. Arrow finished the fight with the last 2 shots to the face. The blunt force knocked him backwards to the floor, unconscious. "Incredible," Angel said. "Well, I am happy with that one, yes," Arrow said with a laugh. "He cleared out my quiver, though. Give me a hand getting all those back together." The two gathered up the arrows and dragged Zeiss down the escape route. The area at the end of the passage was some kind of surveillance room. 3 guards laid unconscious around it, all still visibly breathing. "Did we do this?" There was fear in Angel's voice. "If Tim didn't disable—" "That's unimportant right now," Arrow said. He stepped up to one of the guards, pulled the handcuffs from his belt, and attached Zeiss to an old radiator in the corner. Arrow put a hand to his ear again. "Tim, we back online?" "Yeah, I can hear you," Tim said. "I saw what was going on with him. I heard Angel called him Zeiss, but man, I haven't seen him in ages. Will the cuffs hold him?" Angel asked. "Definitely not for long," Tim said. "I can get some more guards in there, but they're probably going to give you trouble too. Blackgate guards are not the nicest of people. Hang on a sec." There came a few seconds of tapping at his keyboard. "There's only one floor beneath you, and that's the one that deals with extreme isolation. Shiva's room is down there, number EL7. I'll monitor things and keep an eye on Zeiss and the guards. But you're going to have to book it when I tell you to leave." "Hopefully we'll have more than enough time then," Arrow said, and the two stepped out of the security chamber into the prison. "There's going to be an out-of-commission elevator down the hall a ways," Tim said. "There's not any normal entry through there, so there isn't a guard watching it. But there is one on the other side of the door, so don't make too much noise." As promised, Arrow and Angel came to a dilapidated service elevator. So gutted, the barely visible car at the bottom seemed torn apart. "Killer Croc ruined that thing. Long story." The two descended via grapple as Tim spoke, and finally stepped onto the bottommost floor of Blackgate. Indeed, a single guard watched the entrance from the other side of the hallway, which was lined with locked doors. The sound of Tim unlocking the doors was almost enough to make Arrow jump, but they slipped in, quiet as they'd come. The goal they journeyed to sat cross-legged on the other side of an iron cell. Even stripped of her leather regalia and sitting weaponless, she was still intense. The fires in her glare more than made up for whatever was missing. As Angel and Arrow approached her, she slowly uncrossed her legs, pushed up to her feet, and stood straight. She stood a head taller than Angel, half of one taller than Arrow. "You kept me waiting." "I did not want to come." Angel stepped closer. "You are needed." "Always a refreshing sentiment." Shiva turned her attention toward Arrow. "Mr. Hawk, you're pretty far from home." "Business. I'll be headed back soon," Arrow said. "Send your stepmother my regards." "She'll be elated, I'm sure." He made no attempt to mask his sarcasm. "I'm surprised they've managed to keep you locked up so long." "It's a personal exercise at this point," Shiva said. "Gives me some space to think about things, meditate, linger on the different ways I could slip out of this cage." She turned her attention back to Angel. "Besides, I can now say I've passed on my finest technique, so I don't have to look for someone to teach it to anymore. Cassandra, what did you come for?" "Someone attacked me," Angel said. "His name was Lipov. Wanted to know why." "Lipov?" Angel nodded as Shiva asked. "Doesn't sound familiar. Why would I know something about him? Is he trying to take some revenge on me by attacking you?" "No. It's David he wants." "He had knowledge of the Boson catalog," Arrow said. "Batman was translating a copy, but it's out of date, and we were hoping you might be able to assist us." Shiva leaned against the walls of the cell, arms crossed. "If I told you where my personal copy of the catalog is hiding, I'd have a dozen assassins on my back for squealing, and I don't have that information independent of it. David and I never had active communication. You were an arrangement, Cassandra. We were never lovers." The room went quiet, relative to the ever-present shouts and noises from the cells above. Arrow looked toward Angel and Shiva, as if unsure if he should say anything, but held his tongue. In spite of her prompt answer, the way Shiva broke her glare and looked toward the ground suggested she was contemplating something. "I might have been mistaken. Lipov, you said? Victor Lipov?" "Don't know," Angel said. "He never told me." "Victor Lipov I do remember. His name, at least. I never knew him." "Good," Tim said over the speaker. "Keep her talking. Looks like some guards are making their rounds toward the surveillance room." Angel turned to Arrow, and they shared a nod before she returned her attention to Shiva. "Who was he?" "An assassin in training, if I remember right. You should probably know he's dead." Angel sighed. "Not him, then." Green Arrow stepped closer to the two. "Don't stop now. She said it herself, they never met. It's not like she would have seen the body." "I'll criticize David for plenty, but I don't believe for a moment he would have failed his orders on that case." Shiva shut her eyes to concentrate on the details. "Victor Lipov served alongside David for a few years with the League of Assassins. David seemed to like him fine as a protege, but he was apparently too sadistic for his own good. He deliberately utilized more painful tactics when dispatching his targets. At least a few clung to life long enough for them to escape him. That's what David said." She slid a hand across her mouth as she pulled at thoughts deeper in her mind. "Lipov apparently failed one time too many. David was ordered to kill him." Shiva opened her eyes and looked toward Angel. "Your father monitored me almost every second of my pregnancy with you. The only time he was ever away was to handle that order, so one of the Al Ghouls must have demanded it. That's why I'm sure he's dead. David wouldn't have taken his eyes off of me if the demon hadn't demanded it, and if he failed a direct order, I'm positive one of us would be dead." The three fell into silence again for a short time, and lingered on Shiva's words. Arrow was the one to break in. "Even if all that's true, it's just a last name we're going off of. Maybe the two were brothers, or maybe the one hunting you is his son. We are talking about 18 years ago." Angel nodded slowly toward Arrow before she turned back toward Shiva. "One last thing. Did he know about me?" Shiva raised an eyebrow. "Know about you?" "What David wanted me to be. Lipov has a servant. He fights like me, dresses like I did, never speaks." He is what David wanted. Shiva shrugged as she sat back down on the floor. I don't know if he ever told anyone else about his intentions. You'd have to ask him that yourself. Damn it, round's getting closer, Tim said over the earpiece. You don't have much time left. We should go, Arrow said. I don't want to be mistaken for the enemy, and she just said she wouldn't help us. As Angel nodded again, she turned toward the exit and drew the grappling hook from her belt. Cassandra! Shiva did not shout, but her voice had the same force as if she had. I want you to know something before you leave. Angel said nothing, but turned back to face her. If you encounter David before this hunter of yours does, what do you intend to do? I will ask him the same things, and protect him if I have to. Shiva uttered a tiny, dismissive chuckle. Protect your father, the same man who made you everything you now hate, who continues to be an agent against everything you stand for? If your God is real, Cassandra, your father is going to burn in hell. I believe in redemption. You think David would do what he does if he didn't absolutely embrace it? He isn't sorry for the hits he's done. He isn't sorry for all those he's killed. He isn't sorry he killed my sister. He'll only ever be sorry he didn't raise you to have a stronger stomach. Your time's up, Tim said. Any longer and you'll have to run, and then you might alert the guards from the other side of the room. One last thing, Shiva said. Do you view me the same way? A pause passed between the two. I'm glad I've let you live as long as I have, but I'm not sorry I almost didn't, and I'm not looking for forgiveness for every person who wasn't so fortunate. I'm not a lost sheep you can show the way. I'm here because of myself, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Arrow pulled at Angel's shoulder, but for the moment she held her mother's glare. Every night before I fight, I pray. You, everyone here, in Arkham, I pray you can recover. If your God didn't want people to make the wrong choices, he wouldn't have forbidden a tree in the middle of the Garden of Eden. Or he wouldn't have put it there in the first place. Angel opened her mouth to react, but Arrow gave a last pull on her shoulder. Reluctantly, she followed him back to the hallway outside.